In the early decades of the 20th century, India was undergoing seismic shifts in its struggle for independence from British rule, amidst growing demands for self-governance. A series of conferences were held between Indian leaders and British representatives in London, known as the Round Table Conferences. These conferences, held in the years 1930 to 1932, were pivotal moments in the Indian independence movement. The first of these, the 1930 Round Table Conference, began against a backdrop of contentious political tensions. The conference was convened by the British government in the wake of Mahatma Gandhi's famous Salt March, a civil disobedience act against British salt law, which intensified the quest for independence. Initially, this conference faced several challenges. The Indian National Congress, the leading political party pushing for India's independence, refused to participate on account of their leader, Gandhi, being imprisoned at the time. Consequently, the British engaged with representatives from various other political and religious groups in India. The absence of the Indian National Congress was a significant obstacle, and consequently, the first conference ended without a decisive resolution. However, it laid the necessary groundwork for further discussions. The second conference, occurring in 1931, witnessed a shift as the British released Gandhi from prison, inviting him to participate as the representative of the Indian National Congress. This was a significant turn as Gandhi's presence brought heightened attention and a renewed vigor to the assembly. Intensive discussions continued on various aspects of governance, including representation for minorities and federal structure proposals. Despite the earnest debates, this conference too faced impasses, primarily over the representation and treatment of India's diverse communities. Lastly, the Third Round Table Conference in 1932 saw diminished participation from Indian delegates, notably missing the Indian National Congress altogether. By this time, many within the British administration had grown increasingly skeptical of reaching a consensus. The focus turned largely to technicalities of a new constitution without the broader Indian representation having an influential say. Though no substantive self-governance agreements were reached through these conferences, they were crucial in documenting the differing perspectives and political dynamics at play. Eventually, these events laid the foundation for further dialogue, influencing the future suggestions and acts that progressively led to India's complete independence in 1947. The Round Table Conferences, therefore, stand as a historical marker of the struggles and negotiations inherent in India's journey to freedom.